How does a black woman, an immigrant from the Caribbean, rise to control Harlem's underworld, outwitting mobsters and corrupt cops? This is the story of Stephanie St. Clair, Madam Queen. Have you ever wondered how someone could turn the odds in their favor in an era stacked against them?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Criminal Conversations, where we dive deep into history's most compelling stories. Today we're exploring the incredible rise of Stephanie St. Clair, Madame Queen. She was a kingpin in Harlem's Numbers racket, faced off against the mafia, and wow, a black woman with that kind of power and influence in that era was unheard of. So sit tight as we delve into her origin and how she became a Harlem legend.
So let's kick things off with her early life. Stephanie St. Clair was born of African descent in the West Indies to a single mother, Felicienne, who worked hard to send her daughter to school. According to St. Clair's 1924 Declaration of Intention, she gave Fort-de-France, French West Indies, present-day Martinique, as her place of birth. When St. Clair turned 12, her mother became very ill and she had to leave school. She managed to save some money and, after the death of her mother, finally left Martinique for Montreal, likely coming as part of the 1910-1911 Caribbean domestic scheme, which brought domestic workers to Quebec.
Her journey to the U.S., arriving in New York in 1912, was a long journey. She used that time to learn English. Now, some of this is rumor and myth surrounding her lore. They say when she arrived in Harlem, she fell in love with a small-time pimp named Duke, who soon tried to pimp her out, but was shot in an unrelated incident. After 4 months, she decided to start her own hustle, selling dope with the help of her new boyfriend, Ed.
A few months later, she had earned $30,000 and decided to tell Ed she wanted to break up and start her own business. However, Ed didn't take this well. He attempted to strangle her, but she managed to fight back. With surprising strength, she pushed him and he hit his head on a table, resulting in a fatal skull crack. After this incident, Stephanie St. Clair went on to hire some guys to work for her. She also started giving money to policemen to keep things smooth. Then, on April 12, 1917, she made another big move. Using $10,000 of her savings, she invested in a secret lottery game that was operating in Harlem.
So with Stephanie St. Clair, you can say her rise to power all started with Harlem's Numbers game, a sort of grassroots lottery that was insanely popular in the black community. It was a game of luck, illegal yet incredibly lucrative.
Get this. So Stephanie started her numbers business with a $10,000 investment, which, adjusting for inflation, is an eye-popping figure, especially for someone in her circumstances. Before long, she was raking in $250,000 annually. And that's in the 1920s, folks. To put things in perspective, that's like earning millions today. Her rise wasn't just built on money, though it was her reputation that set her apart. Stories about her wealth, her ruthlessness, and her connections started circulating, making her an almost mythical figure. And let's be real, the less people knew about her past, the more formidable she seemed.
Oh, and the rumors? They only added to the mystique of Stephanie St. Clair. There were whispers that she killed an ex-boyfriend. Seriously, the rumor mill was on fire. This only added to her reputation as someone you would not want to cross. She leveraged these rumors to her advantage, using her formidable reputation to keep rivals at bay. Another juicy piece of gossip? Her police connections. Some said she had the cops and politicians in her pocket, which helped her solidify her dominance in Harlem. Remember her testimony before the Seabury Commission? St. Clair wasn't just a crime boss. She had a level of political savvy that was unheard of for someone in her shoes. It wasn't just about dodging law enforcement. It was about controlling it.
Now, let's talk about her clash with Dutch Schultz. This part is classic gangster lore. Schultz wanted to take over Harlem's Numbers racket, and St. Clair was having none of it. Once Prohibition ended, Jewish and Italian-American mobs faced a drop in their earnings, so they set their sights on the gambling rackets in Harlem. A big-time Bronx mobster named Dutch Schultz was the first to make his move. He didn't mess around. He'd rough up or even off any numbers guys who wouldn't pay up to keep him happy. But Madame St. Clair and her right-hand man, Bumpy Johnson, weren't about to roll over. They held their ground, even when Schultz's thugs and crooked cops were breathing down their necks. Instead of giving in, They fought back, smashing up the storefronts where Schultz's betting games were happening. They also had the guts to squeal on him to the cops, which really got under his skin. This bold move led to a showdown that would change the face of Harlem's underworld.
She famously declared him not afraid of Dutch Schultz or any man living. Can you imagine? This wasn't just bravado, it was a calculated move. By publicly defying Schultz, she was staking her claim and leveraging her reputation to make herself seem untouchable. Schultz was a real threat, but thanks to her fearsome reputation, he and others thought twice about challenging her. It's a classic case of the line between reality and perception being razor thin.
St. Clair's influence remained strong, even after she stepped away from the numbers game. Bumpy Johnson, another notorious character, took the reins of her operations, which just goes to show how much of a mark she had left on the scene. Once she put the numbers racket behind her, St. Clair moved on to advocate for political change. In the late 30s, she met and married a guy named Sufi Abdul Hamid, who was quite the controversial figure with his extreme beliefs and was often referred to as the Black Hitler. Hamid was quite the firebrand, leading an Islamic Buddhist group. But things didn't stay rosy for long. Their marriage hit a rough patch when word got around that he was seeing a fortune teller named Fu Futum on the side. The situation came to a head in January 1938 when St. Clair shot Hamid in a heated argument about his affair with Futum. She ended up getting 2 to 10 years at the Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women in New York. After serving her time and getting out in the early 40s, she managed to keep a low profile and turned over a new leaf. People said she went from being a big shot in the underworld to a successful and law-abiding successful businesswoman.
What's fascinating is how much of her legacy is built on rumors as much as on her real achievements. Stephanie St. Clair mastered the power of perception. She understood that in the underworld, reputation isn't just important, it's everything. Her life teaches us about the incredible power of rumors and how a savvy individual can use them to build an unshakable empire.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into Madam Queen's life, don't forget to like, comment, and share. And hey, make sure to subscribe to the Criminal Conversations podcast for more epic tales from history. See you next time.